Okay.
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
They heard it. The called meeting order at 5:37 p.m. Everyone is present except Courtney. Recommendations and requests, approval of the minutes and executive sessions. The board did meet in executive session and discuss personnel in accordance with Indiana code. It is recommended that the minutes of the regular public meeting of March 17th, 2026 be approved with any additions, corrections, or deletions as recommended by the board.
So moved.
Heather? Second. Christie? Vote. 6-0. Public participation.
Yeah, Mr. Day, you want to introduce you?
Yeah, sure, that would be fine. Okay, Elizabeth, would you stand, please? So some of you may know, maybe not, this is Mrs. Elizabeth Lowe. She is, teaches a lot of business classes for us. She is the sponsor for the BPA, Business Professionals of America. And I'm gonna let her introduce her students and say, I told her she had to keep it under an hour. And she said if she'd be done in seconds. But they had a really good showing at Indy, about a month ago now? Yeah. And I didn't tell her this, but I'm going to tell you. So I went to get them in a white school bus. And I'm not going to lie, I really was just wanting to zip up there, pick them up, zip back. And then I found out that they wanted to eat. And then I was like, in my head, I was like, can we just not go back to school? And we went to Olive Garden. And I want to say I'm really glad that we did because I thoroughly enjoyed it. And I didn't think it was scientifically possible to devour that many breadsticks. But you go ahead.
I've got Chelsea and Reese with me. Either of you have to say anything.
I don't think I got much to say.
So at regionals in December, we had 16 kids. I think we have 22 total signed up. 16 went, all 16 placed in something, whether it was an open contest or their individual contest. We had one team contest. At state, we had 6 that were actually competing, 9 that went, and of the 6, 5 of them qualified for nationals. So we appreciate your support in helping get us there, and they're looking forward to our trip.
So did these two qualify for nationals?
They do. Chelsea's not going to go with us, but she did qualify.
What'd you qualify?
Concert.
What'd you qualify for, Chelsea?
Yes. So we're like 2 with it.
Okay.
So we have an admin support team, which is what they're both on. Miley Bush won state in the prepared speech. Olivia Ralph won, or she got, with 8th place in advanced office systems, and then Macy Taylor got 3rd. She actually tied for 1st. It was a 4-way tie, I believe, for fundamental spreadsheets. So, wow.
And I just want to say, obviously compliment the students. That was awesome. You guys did a great job. And I just also want to say for Mrs. Lowe, Mrs. Lowe has been someone who's been very good to work with and helped out the other day with our Passion Day. And she's just a good-natured, good person. So thank you.
Thank you guys for coming. We would love to have you stay for the rest of the meeting, but you're not going to hurt our feelings if you need to sneak out. So if you need to sneak out. Okay, right. Thank you guys again. Congratulations. We really.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right, that's probably worth it.
Mrs. Lori, you want to introduce any folks?
So I have Miss Rebecca Williams. She is our youth first social worker at the elementary, so she and I work very closely together. A lot of times we tag team, a lot of our student behaviors, there's usually a lot of trauma involved with it, so we kind of have a routine. She does breaks, she has break with students. She really goes above and beyond. I just want to brag on her because I wouldn't be able to survive without her, because she is someone that jumps in, and you can see kind of her, like, her caseload. She sees individual sessions with caseload numbers up 700 sessions in a month. Correct, around like the whole school year, yeah. So we're up to 700 now, and so that's probably the ones that she's recorded, but there's a lot of that are informal that she helps with, like if she sees a kid in the hallway that's having a bad day. She does a lot of things in the morning with the students. They check in with her. She gets them going on a good day. She communicates with the teachers if she's heard that, maybe parents communicate with her before they communicate with the teachers. So I just need to brag on her because she is a wonderful counselor, social worker, and she does a great job working with parents. She helps with any kind of, if we have any suicidal students that have made comments, she always does assessments with them. She communicates with the parents, and she just does an overall great job. And we're very lucky to have her at the elementary. We've had probably 10 more of her if possible, but she is busy on daily. Sometimes with planned meetings and groups, and sometimes with unplanned, because every day we never know what's going to happen. So I'm taking that to brag on or anything with that.
Thank you. I've really enjoyed the community, the people, kids. It's a great place to be, and I would tell everyone that. So I have a soft spot for all of it, and I appreciate working here and working with the staff at Williams and tag team with Mrs. Lawyer. It's been great. It's been a great way to start my social work career. So
We're trying to have a nice day. Just getting married in the fall.
She was actually our former social worker student.
Yeah.
Came
Oh,
down and she left. She left to go back closer to home and have a baby. Rebecca stepped in, and that's kind of been her motto. That social worker, Rebecca replaced was a student, Brandy Carroll, who was our first social worker. So I told Rebecca, if she ever does leave, she can't leave until she finds her replacement.
Yes.
We're really lucky to have Rebecca. She does a great job. Really good with the kids.
There's a lot of things behind the scenes no one sees, so.
Well, that statistic, 13 suicidal interventions and 4 violence, that alone makes you well worth it. And then when you see all of the rest of this, that's really, really important. So thank you.
She does a very good job of handling. I mean, at the elementary age especially, it's really hard for parents to hear if kids are having any sort of suicidal thoughts. So I've learned a lot from her, just dealing with parents and giving resources that they need and supporting them. So yeah, lucky to have her.
Being the rural area that we are, is there issues with you finding help outside?
it's limited. Like as far as like resources for
Correct.
like families and especially like mental health focused resources is pretty limited. But that's also because like now that it's growing in need, there's wait lists. So the places that you do find, you might have to wait 2 to 3 months. And some parents are like, I need it now, like my kid needs that support right now. Finances is a big one. Just the affordability of a therapist is like, I mean, you could pay anywhere from 70 to 100 for just 1 hour a week.
And then we had a student that was in Meadows for several days, and he needs therapy, but there's nowhere for him. They don't really, a lot of the facilities do not think long-term here. It's short-term. They send you home. They give you suggestions. For our area and for our parents, a lot of them don't understand like what resources are out there. So we kind of work on getting them the resources. They use Brandy Terrell a lot to make connections in the community. But yeah, so it's just sad. I mean, he needs big constant. So fortunately, she takes care of a lot of that. So she does check in with him in the morning and the afternoon. So we do that with a lot of kiddos that are waiting to get into therapy, just to kind of help with that. So.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. And you're surely welcome to stay for the rest of the meeting. We're trying to hurry it done. Send it back on. Yeah, wherever you like to.
Accounts payable, Vouchers and payroll claims. It is recommended that the board approve accounts payable vouchers from March 17th through March 31st, 2026, and April 1st through April 21st of 2026. Also to approve payroll claims for March 27th and April 10th of 2026, and to make payroll on April 24th and May 8th, 2026. Have a motion?
So moved.
Jonathan,
I'll second.
second, Heather. Vote. 6-0. To approve the contractual bus drivers' accounts payable for the above dates. Barry,
I'll second.
second, Heather. Vote. 5-0-1. Financial report. The recurring transfer from the education fund to the operations fund to be reimbursed to the operations fund for March 2026 expenses that are not allocated to students' instructions and learning was made March 31st, 2026 in the amount of $90,000.
Just passed the summary sheet. I just emailed the detailed sheets through March to you, so you should have those. I still need to, I did get them updated through the end of March, but I still need to put in my estimates for the rest of the year. So I think I've given you an idea, or maybe Mr. Ellis and I had talked about it, but I did a quick one back in January, I think, but I need to get back in there and actually look at it and forecast out. Because this year it's definitely going to be tighter. And then the only other thing is on that summary one I just gave you, the teacher appreciation grant is showing on there for $31,000, and that has been that was given out with the April 10th board meeting. So those 7 teachers have received their stipend. But other than that, I don't have anything unless you guys have something.
No.
Yeah, we
I'll have to send that back.
did, we could only give like a certain 3,500 is what we gave. And you couldn't do more than that. So the 3,500 times the 7 teachers, and then the turf and the FICA, we ended up having a little bit left that we're gonna have to send back, but there wasn't enough to do a full another stipend. So we'll send that money back to the state.
You have Mr. Willis?
It's probably 2,500 roughly. That's not an exact amount though. And that's all I have, unless
Okay.
anyone has questions. Yeah.
Any questions? Resignations. The following resignation is to be recorded in the minutes. Tom Bradley as Orleans Junior Senior High School boys varsity basketball coach, effective March 25th, 2026. Employment, it is recommended that the board approve Olivia Meredith as 5th grade teacher for the 2026-27 school year, pay and benefits for the master contract. Motion, Christie. Second, Barry. Vote. 6-0. It is recommended that the board approve the following individuals as coach and volunteer of the 2025-26 spring sports season. Whitney Smith, Orleans Elementary cross country coach. Dwight Klein is the volunteer assistant varsity softball coach. The motion. Keith.
Second.
Second, Jonathan. Vote. 6-0. It is recommended the board approve the following individuals as 2026-27 volleyball coaches.
You don't necessarily have to read all those. You don't want-
Sure. I guess, are they still looking for 7th grade, I guess, is that what?
Yeah, we don't have to.
Okay. Motion. Christie,
Second.
Heather. Vote. 6-0. It is recommended the board approve Riley Henderson to provide homebound services for up to 3 hours per week at her hourly rate. Motion. Christie.
Second.
Second, Jonathan. Vote. 6-0. It is recommended that the board approve Drew Henderson as substitute bus driver for Orleans Community Schools to be used as needed. Motion. Keith. Vote. 6-0. Is that for the, he has his license for the big buses too? Okay. I was just curious.
The only knock on it is Chad need the training. So
Yeah. This is the only knock.
It is recommended that the board approve Landon Basinger and Carlos Ray for the summer mowing positions up to 15 hours per week at a pay rate of $15 per hour.
These two did this last year for us, did a really good job, so we're bringing it back this year.
Barry?
Second.
Keith? Vote. 6-0. All right, field trip requests. It is recommended the board approve the following field trip requests as presented.
I think those were in the board packet. I think the fourth request was the culinary class going to Bellarmine College or Sullivan College in Louisville. Yeah.
Got a motion?
So good.
Jonathan. Second. Christie. Vote. 6-0. 26, 27 out-of-district students. It is recommended that the board approve the student request for out-of-district transfers form for the 2026-27 school year with October 1st, 2026 as the last day to accept transfers.
That's the only change is that we have to do this every year. We have to set that date, and that is the date, count date. So we don't normally accept transfers after the count date. There is an appeal process if we had room and wanted to accept when we could. As a general rule, we don't normally do that.
Motion. Barry. Second. Christie. Vote. 16. We probably use that date every year as the same date.
Yes,
don't we?
whatever
Count date.
Count date,
Yeah.
yes.
Conference request. It is recommended the board approve the following conference requests as presented.
Conference was in your board packet. Mr. Freed went to a conference. Mrs. Ralston went to a conference. And we have a couple other people going to some things locally.
So moved.
Johnson. Second. Barry. 16. Donations. It is recommended the board accept donations from the following to the Business Professionals of America organizations to be used for the BPA National Leadership Conference.
You're going to have to read all those.
Okay.
So we'll get into the amounts, and then we do have the amounts.
Have a motion?
Second.
Vote. 16. Quotes. It is recommended the board approve the quote from Catholic
Yeah.
hardwood floors to clean, abrade, and recoat the elementary and junior senior high school main gym floors in the amounts listed below. Orleans Elementary School, $4,788. Orleans Junior Senior High School, $6,772.
When it says main gym floor, it should say main gym floor. It's the elementary gym and then the high school main gym. We're not doing the auxiliary gym this year. We did the auxiliary gym last year. We put the new floor in. They suggested doing that for every year for a few years. Then we rotate the other floors as needed. Don't do them every year.
So with that new floor, is that just like, I guess, is it to build up? Why are they recommend doing that every year on the new
I don't have
floor?
a good specific answer for you right off the top of my head. I have to double check back, look at my notes, what the reason was on that. I think it's a little bit of wax, maybe making sure that it's sealed properly, but I have to double check that, make sure. But I'll find out.
Have a motion?
So moved.
Second. Barry. 16. It is recommended the board approve the quote from RTI for 170 Chromebooks at a cost of $65,960.
This is part of our refresh. We have some Chromebooks going out, warranty, so these will be new Chromebooks that replace those.
Motion. Keith. Second. Christian. Vote. 16. It is recommended the board approve the quote from Salvis Learning Company in the amount of $30,174.50 for science textbooks at the Orleans Junior Senior High School.
So moved.
Jonathan, second. Heather. Vote. 6-0. Bus maintenance request for proposal. It is recommended the board approve the bus maintenance request for proposal as presented.
Sent that to you in the board packet. It's basically the same thing I did last time we put this out for proposal. The plan is, if you guys approve that tonight, then I would put it in the paper. Also, I'll share that with any other mechanics that I can think of. If you have some people you think I should share that with, certainly we'll share that with them, and then we'll take proposals and we'll see who gets that. You know, who's got the best proposal for us.
On the maintenance agreement that we have, what do we pay monthly? Do we pay anything monthly?
We do have a monthly fee we pay, and that's, you can put
Well,
$12.
$325.
And I'm sure that that's probably antiquated. 'Cause,
We've raised it, I know, once in the last few years.
I don't think we raised it last year. But two, I would like to get away from, that's ran through payroll for some reason. Maybe because he used to be
Bus driver.
a bus driver as well and stuff. But I would like to get away from it being through payroll. It needs to all be vendor, through the vendor.
The one thing that I saw on that list is I didn't see, like, I don't see any emphasis put on preventive maintenance, having some come, cause I don't know, who does our live checks? Is that whoever's gonna be driving the bus for that day?
No, they come and they do, Chelsea sends a trip sheet out to Walt, and Walt has somebody from his garage come and check all the buses that are going out to make sure everything's good to go.
Daily or weekly?
Weekly.
Weekly, so every Monday or Sunday.
Yeah,
sometime
every
they fill
Friday
up
they
the-
pick the list up for the
And
next
then
week,
they sign off.
sign
yes.
off on it, bring it back in, say they've checked it.
So they go out, they check make sure,
Yes.
just, they start it up, make sure everything's,
Restricted
and that's
inspection.
done every,
It's still, yeah, the buses are going out, yeah.
I mean, we may have skipped over that in that agreement.
So that's probably the
And I'm
That's
$325
the
Yeah.
month. I bet.
Yeah, yes, and then if we say a bus, needs a new tire, well, he'll take care of that for us. Or some things that they can do locally, that he can do, some things that don't have expertise, or we have to call Colonel Hunter, he's used Yule in Corden before as well, so.
Some of
Second. Second, Keith. Vote. 6-0. Resolution in support of military families. It is recommended the board approve the resolution in support of military as presented.
This is something that John and Natasha Hopper brought to us. It's what's called a Purple Star School, it's from the Department of Education does. Dr. Morgan had kind of spearheaded this several years ago, and we did that, and we kind of fell away. Basically, we show our support, a resolution, and if we pass this out resolution for you guys to sign, basically just says that we support military families and that we're going to, if we have a military family move here, we're going to have a point person that, hey, these are the resources we have locally, whatever those resources are. And I don't know what those are off the top of my head. We have somebody identified and says they will take care of that. Jordan, which is Natasha Jones' daughter, Jordan, is going to take care of that for us. She's obviously knows what's like being a military family and moving and things. And so somebody comes in, they're a military family, we say, hey, these are all the resources locally we have that your family might take advantage of. It's not a heavy lift, not something we have to do. It's going to take a lot of work on our part or expense. It's just a way we can say we support those people.
Is it Natasha Hopper or John?
John and Tasha Hopper, yeah.
Oh, okay, I thought you said Natasha John.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Okay, John and Natasha.
John and Natasha.
Yes,
Yeah, okay.
yes, I got it there.
I'm like, say that.
Yeah, John and Natasha Hopper brought this to me.
Okay.
And their daughter's going to spearhead this. for us.
Okay.
So,
Jonathan, second. Barry, vote. 6-0. Superintendent report.
okay, as far as our current enrollment, we're at 476 at the elementary, 360 at the junior senior high school, and a total of 836. 209 of those are transfers for 25%. And then not counted in that 476 number at the elementary is 18. So we're a little bit above where we were on February count day, but not much. So also, we've been working through the strategic priorities. We identified 5 priorities. One of those priorities is we're kind of at the corporation level about, education fund balance and some things that we're working over here, facilities, strategic plan and planning for the future. As far as that goes, the other 4 things were more academic and related things that, directly, impact students more in a direct way, and teachers in a direct way. And so I put those 4 on the sheet for you guys. And what I would like you guys to do is spend some time, and not tonight, but over the next maybe, little bit, and you say, all right, all these things are going to be priorities. But if you try to do everything, everything's a priority, and nothing is necessarily. So we'll work on all these things, but what would be the, number 1 and number 2 things? We got to hit these things first. These are things we really want you to focus on in the next, 2 to 3 years. Do these things and really make sure we're focusing on these things. And then these other things, while they're important, these are the things we want you to really hit on first. And then we can kind of take those to the building level and say, all right, school improvement teams, how can we make this work? What kind of things do you think we should do? And we can have them bring some ideas back, for this body to kind of consider as well. So if you guys want to give us some thought, I don't expect you to get this back to me tonight. You can even text me a picture of it when you get home later on next week or 2 to say, or, however you want to do it. But I think, it would help. We've talked about this, we kind of landed on these things, but of these 4 things, what should be number 1? What should be number 2? And we'll try to maybe do this by consensus of what the board thinks. Anybody have questions on that? Not great. Thank you. And then I mentioned that I was going to just give you a little bit of an update. The ISBA sent out a quite lengthy update on the new legislation that's passed. And I sent that to you, but I didn't really expect you guys to read it because it's very dense. And I also attended a presentation yesterday from the School Superintendent's Association on some of these as well. So I just wanted to highlight a few of these that I think are probably most impactful. And then if you read that document and ask you specific questions, please feel free. And if I don't have an answer tonight, I'll try to get you one. One of the, with the new graduation diploma, they talked about there needs to be more work-based learning requirements placed on specifically your juniors and seniors. And one of the questions that came down was liability. These kids go to work for the business. Are they, what's the liability? What's the liability for the school and the transportation? So we all put in there about that. Kids transferring, or not transferring, kids traveling into a business place. Well, there's some language in there about, we don't have as much liability there as we would in the past. And we don't have as much liability if somebody gets hurt. If they go to Jasper Seating, they would fall under Jasper Seating's liability and workman's comp stuff. So there was some language put in there to help with that. And I can tell you more specifically about that, but this is broad strokes. There's some stuff in there to help schools and businesses as well. Also, as a way, the changes in SCA 1 and what's coming down and all those, they put stuff in there that allows the school corporation to allocate the effects of the supplemental homestead credits granted for property taxes first due payable in 2026 to proportionally among all school corporations' property tax funds. What does that mean? This year, if we choose to, we can raise money. If we're going to lose money in our debt service and we're not going to be able to have enough money to pay our debt, we could raise taxes in 1 year, this year 1, to help pay those payments. So that's what it allows us to do. We have requested the ability to do that from DLGF, and they're going to send us a workbook, and we're going to plug it in so we know exactly what the impact will be, exactly what it would raise our taxes in the future if we did that. And we may decide it's not enough money that we want to worry about. But we may decide it's enough money we need to do that. We have to do that. But by requesting the ability to do it, we don't have to do it. It just gives us an opportunity to look at the numbers, to get the stuff from the DLGF, and we'll sit down for a budget consultant and we'll look at it and decide if it's something we need to do. But they did give us that flexibility if we need to do that. However, we would be raising taxes on the public to do that. And so we need to see what that impact is. How much will our tax rate go up? What's the final number going to be that we're not going to get because of the property tax caps? So we have to look at that and see. So that was something I put in there for 1 year only. that we can do if we think we need to. So, once we go through that process, I'll share that with you, and then we can make that decision. Other things, wireless communication devices. We must adopt a bell-to-bell policy that either prohibits students from possessing wireless communication device, including cell phones and smartwatches on school property, or requires the devices to be stored, powered off, and inaccessible throughout the school day. Specific exceptions are identified, such as if it's in an IEP for special needs, you need to use your device. So basically, kids are not going to be able to have cell phones at any point during the year. When that bell rings at 8:10 at the junior senior high school, they have to have them powered off, put up, out of sight, until that bell rings at 3:10. Currently, they can't have them out in class. They're not supposed to have them out in class, but they can have them out during passing periods of lunch. That will not be a thing next year. No AirPods, smartwatches will be powered off, and cell phones will be put in lockers, put away. So the high school is working through that now, how they're going to enforce that. We'll share some information going into school this year, so parents kind of know this is coming. We do expect some backlash. People are going to like this. However, we have no choice. It's Indiana code. It's law. We have to enforce what they say in there. So it's not really an issue at the elementary school. It's an issue at the junior senior high school. So we'll have to. That's where we'll probably have the biggest issue. So we will bring you some plans for that. Once we have this finalized, we're going to have some discussion how we're going to do that. What's the most best way to do that? A lot of it's going to be enforcement, just to make the teachers. You see a phone, take it, send it to the office. Zero tolerance policy on that, and then there'll be some discipline have to come out after that too. And if teachers don't enforce that, we'll have to make sure that they do that. And just kids don't want to follow the policy, then we're going to have to back the teachers when they do that. And we'll have some parents that they don't like that. And they have to get in contact with their kid during the day, they're going to have to call the office like we did before cell phones. We survived before cell phones too, so that's coming. So we'll have to do that too. Good citizenship instruction requirements are included. Good citizenship instruction must include the importance of obtaining a high school diploma, securing full-time employment, and waiting till marriage to have children is relevant to attaining economic prosperity. So we're going to have to include that in our good citizenship instruction at some level. So let's do that. Not that we don't already talk about some of those things with the students. And then a couple other things. We no longer have the authority to hold a teacher for 30 days if they resign. So if we had a teacher come in tomorrow and said, I'm resigning, we used to have to say, all right, we're gonna have an empty classroom. We're gonna hold you for 30 days, you sign a contract. We don't have that ability anymore. Now I assume that started July 1. I have to look double check that, but we will not have that ability going forward. Not been a big issue with us. If somebody did resign, we call the new school, if they're going to a new school, we work with them as best we can. We don't want to hinder somebody from going somewhere else. And like when Mr. Beckman, he left for a new opportunity, and yeah, we let him go a little bit early, but he was willing to stay, and his new school understood. And if we had a situation like that, we would probably work with the new school too. It's tough. Nobody wants an empty classroom with students, and so we would work with the employers and other schools to do that. But it is something that was taken away. And then also, there is an HEA 1004 that eliminates the specification of hours from the regular teacher contract. So that will no longer, currently teachers sign a contract and it says how many hours a day they work. That no longer goes. So we're going to start having teachers work 12-hour days. No, I'm just kidding. Just teasing. No, I don't really expect any changes to what we currently do. We will probably ask you guys to maybe establish what a work day should be, and we'll put that in our teacher handbook or board policy, but it's not, and it might there be days that, like we currently do, hey, we need to just take 30 minutes for professional development or a meeting. We do that currently now, but anything like that, we would give them as much advance time to know that was coming. I don't foresee any real changes in what we currently do. Teachers spend a lot of time working outside of school anyway. So it's not like necessarily a big issue of doing that. So, but anyway, those are a few of the legal updates I just want to highlight. There's a lot of other things, but those are the ones that really I thought could impact us. Cell phone is going to be probably the most impactful. We'll probably hear a lot in August, and once we get a routine and get used to things, I think they'll die down and just be the new normal. They'll definitely be tough to begin with. You got any questions about any of that?
But just to repeat, the debt service
Mhm.
aid there is only a 1 year.
It's only a 1 year thing, yes. So we'll need to make sure that going forward, that we're watching that debt service rate, and then working with the DLGF to make sure it's adequate. Yeah, going forward. Now, with the caveat that next year during the budget session, during the session, they may change something. Because that was talked about as well, they may address some of these issues with that law that they didn't anticipate when they passed it going forward. So there may be some changes there too. Any other questions? Okay.
Principal's report?
I looked for errors in this. I had a little kindergartner that said it on my lap and answered the phone and he was holding down the. So there were a bunch of random letters and you're like, I think I got all of them. Okay, we had a family night magic show. We had a magician from up north who came down. He presented during the day and then he came back for a free family event that night. We try to do at least one of those a year just to have something that's no cost to our families. And so we had over 100 people there, which was not expected. I actually had to put more chairs out and put the bleachers out. The book fair and science learning fair that went on last week, 2 weeks ago. So we had a really good turnout with that. We're trying here for the science fair, how we're doing it, expectations to get more involvement. I think we're going to try to showcase some of the employability skills that we're trying to teach some of our kiddos, and we're going to embed in some of the lessons. Kindergarten Roundup was on April 10th. We had our 30-some go through Roundup, which was a small number. Usually we have in the 40s, but based on the preschools that visit, they have low numbers, and then neighboring schools, they also have low numbers for kindergarten, and these would have been COVID babies. So it's not, I know Valley, they have a low number right now signed up for kindergarten. So, but like today we had somebody call and we added 3 more to the list. So I think they will come. I think it's just probably going to be a little more last minute.
Real quick,
Yeah.
what was the science fair? Was that April? I mean, was it March 30th? Because we haven't had April
March
30th.
30th. Yeah,
Okay,
March
okay.
30th.
Okay, I was- okay.
March 30th. Good catch. Mrs. Rain, she had an art night the other night at the elementary, and it was amazing. She had a theme around food, and they made things out of clay, and it was an amazing evening, and we had lots of parents with great feedback. Mrs. Rains really went above and beyond, and she put her heart into it, so it was a very, very neat art display. And then we also had a bake sale for Kinsley, that we had local bakeries donate things, and we raised almost $1,700 that night. So yeah, we have a great community. Special Education Olympics will be May 1st in Mitchell. If you've never been to those and you have a chance, I highly encourage you to go and check it out. It's amazing. It makes you very, very proud of your kiddos and the families and the teachers and staff that work with those kiddos on a daily basis. 6th grade, they will be visiting the junior high on May 4th to learn about what they're going to get into next year. Everybody's already a little nervous after that day, but the high school, they do a great job of bringing them up and kind of running them through the day, and they use the students. And every year it kind of varies a little bit what they do, but they try to have them go through the day, whatever you like. And I believe they're eating lunch there, if I remember correctly. A shout out to the 3rd grade teachers and the Title I staff. They have worked so hard on our iRead and our scores, and we're still working on retakes with that. 2nd grade this year, they have 2 opportunities to retake, and then 3rd grade, if they did not pass, they have 3 opportunities to retake it. We have to offer summer school for 2nd and 3rd grade. 2nd grade do not have to participate, but we have to offer it to them. If they choose not to do the summer school option, then we'll retest on May 16th that week. If they choose to do the summer school option, then they'll retest in the summer. And then 3rd grade will retest in May. And then if they still don't pass it, then they will come in for 2 weeks for remediation and then retake the test again. So, and that includes all of our students that do not pass in 2nd and 3rd. So, yeah.
What's the expectation of results as far as that are remediated?
Well, we usually, like last year, we had, I think we had no one not pass that didn't have an IEP. They all passed. So our goal is to get everyone And they've been working, we've really, last year and especially this year, we've kind of figured out strategies that work. And the third grade teachers have learned the phonetics and they've learned the phonics. Pemberton's done a great job of training them. They've kind of taken over that and they've been really good at, providing those interventions in the classroom. So my goal would be for any non-IEP students, 100% passing. And even with IEP students, I would think, 75 to 80%, depending on,
And they move on, IUP move on anyway.
they can,
correct?
yes, they can. One of the new things coming down the pike is we're having several ELL students, which English language learners. And they are going into kind of the configuration. Used to, they were kind of exempt from it. Well, now they are in any kind of state results, our growth. I mean, they're in all of it. So we have to kind of look at how we're going to meet their needs, and I'm in the middle of that process right now. But yeah, so, yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, good evening. I hope you don't mind, but I'm gonna do something a little different tonight. In lieu of a report, I'm gonna share an experience with you. And it actually happened to me twice in the same place. So I'm walking in the hallway one day and I'm over in the wing where Mrs. Campbell's class is. And I decide to walk in and I see her and she's kind of in this seat and she's got her phone and she's just going like this. And kids are coming, there's some kids at the front of the class and there are kids out in the class and all she's doing is recording. And I want you to think about this because here's the teacher in the class with the kids. She didn't say a word the entire time that I was in the class. And the entire time that I was in there, I mean, without a doubt, it was some of the richest dialogue that I have ever heard come from high school age students. Okay. So what it is, it's a 12th grade dual credit class, and she really kind of more or less proctors. The fellow that kind of leads the class is from Lagodi. And I listened to these kids and I watched them talk. Every single kid in that room was engaged. Every single kid was giving, they were answering, they were having this discussion, back and forth. And I just kind of sat there and I just watched and honestly just kind of soaking it in, And I left that classroom that day and I thought, oh my goodness, this is awesome, right? Well, so, a short time later, she emails me and she says, hey, I need to come in late one day because I think it was a doctor's appointment or something like that. And I said, okay, I'll tell you what, I'll go in and watch your class until you get there. So I go in thinking, right, I'm thinking, well, okay, I'm going to be the babysitter for the next half hour to 45 minutes. Same class. And I didn't really realize at the time it was going to be the same class. I walk in, the kids come in, 2 kids walk up to the front of the class, right? And come to find out later on, they're called ambassadors. So the fellow who runs the class, he picks a couple of students from the group and he calls them ambassadors. And they walked up, they stood at the front, and they conducted class for the 45 to 50 minutes that I was in there before the teacher got there. And all this time, and I'm gonna go on record and admit I've never read the novel The Great Gatsby, but they were talking about the novel The Great Gatsby, right? But what I want you to hear and what I want you to know, and there's a reason why I'm sharing this with you. And I will tell you that it was extremely poignant for me. And I think if it is for me, I think it will be for you too. And I'll explain why I feel that way here in a second. But I was just amazed at high school students who, number one, had the acumen, right? The intelligence, the ability to communicate the way these kids were communicating, that 2 high school students would have, the ability to walk up front and stand in front of the classroom and run the class, right? And engage their cohort or their colleagues, right? Engage their cohort in this, broad discussion. And it wasn't like their comments were like, they weren't shallow, right? They weren't shallow. I mean, they were deep, they were wonderfully articulated comments, right? Okay. Now why am I sharing that with you in lieu of a report? Well, I'm going to be honest with you. I'll be totally honest with you. I walked out of that classroom 2 times, so thankful that I had walked into that classroom. Okay. And I'll tell you why. Because you guys may have the ability, you probably do. I don't seem to have the ability to make 100% of the people that I'm with every day happy, right? And so I have to deal with people who are irate, or I have to deal with people who aren't happy about this or aren't happy about that, or the parent who doesn't, believe that their kid would ever do anything wrong. You understand what I'm saying? And some days that kind of weighs on you, right? And some days it's easier than others. But when I walked out of that room those 2 times, I walked out thinking, this is why we do what we do. Okay, well, I'm sharing that with you because it's the same reason you do what you do. We have got some kids in that building that are sharp. And we have got some kids in that building. And here's what's going to happen. They're going to go out and they're going to be leaders in their families. They're going to be leaders in their churches. They're going to be leaders in their communities. They are going to be people who we are going to want to, associate with. They're going to be business people that are going to be very, very successful. They're the kinds of people that we're going to want to live next door to. And I just want to go on record as saying that I so enjoyed it, and I was so impressed, and I was so thankful, because then it makes some of the work that's not so pleasant seem like, okay, I can handle this because I know that what we're doing is good, right? And I'm sharing that with you because, come on, let's face it. I mean, anytime you're on a board, I can't imagine that 100% of your decisions would always be popular with everyone either, right? Okay, so the reality is you're doing what you're doing because you care about kids, and you're doing the best you can to promote a place where kids can learn and where they can exchange ideas and where they can grow and mature. And I'm pleased to tell you that there's quite a bit of that going on over next door in this building. Yeah, you guys should be proud.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Late items. Resignation, the following resignation should be recorded in the minutes. Meg Chance as Orleans Junior Senior High School Tri-High Y sponsor, effective at the end of the 2025-26 school year. HFI, it is recommended that the board approve the inspection and maintenance agreement from HFI for the kitchens in Orleans Elementary School, Orleans Junior Senior High School in the amount of $9,800. Have a motion?
So moved.
Keith?
Second.
Jonathan?
Nick, may I ask a question?
Yes.
When these inspection and maintenance agreements are prepared and proposed, do our folks have any kind of walkthrough where they see that and what that entails and how it comes together and what it?
Dottie and Greg can oversee that, together. They work with them. Talk to them.
Well, many times if I see what's being proposed in my work, then the next time I know what to look for. I think that's valuable.
Yeah, I don't disagree. And there have been some cases where they kind of learn from walking alongside, and maybe the next time they've been able to do some of that stuff. It depends on what it is. They're still, they have to come, like the hood inspection part of it, but we can't do that ourselves. Yeah.
And we talked about this, but if you watch and learn over a period of 15 or 20 years, before you know it, you actually you absorb that.
Yeah.
So it's something to think about.
6-0.
So that next quote,
Yes.
that's my mistake. I put it on there in the regular agenda and I added it as a late item because I was adding the other one and I just,
Right, so it doesn't need to be on there.
the 30,000 is not on.
It is recommended that the board approve. The second one needs to be on
It
there.
does.
All right, okay. Second board approve the quote from Salvus Learning Company in the amount of $9,781.60 for 5th grade social studies textbooks at the Orleans Elementary School.
Motion.
Motion Barry, Heather. Vote. 6-0. Donations recommended that the board accept the following donations, $600 from the following. Read them or no, or? Okay. The Business Professionals of America to be used for their trip to the BPA National Conference. Motion?
Second.
I'm sorry, who's first?
Oh,
Oh,
Jonathan,
sorry, I apologize.
Vote. 6-0. HH Hoosier Hills Credit Union invoice, it is recommended the board approve the invoice from the Hoosier Hills Insurance Agency in the amount of $715 for the coverage for bus 25. Motion, Heather.
Second.
Barry. Vote. 6-0. OPA contract renewal is recommended. The board approve the contract renewal for OPA for the food service management services for the 2026-27 school year. Motion. Christie.
Second.
Second, Jonathan. Vote. 6-0. Beacon Credit Union is recommended the board approve the purchase of an 8-month CD at 3.90% APY for the $750,000 from Beacon Credit Union. Keith. Barry. Vote.
Abstain.
501. Donations recommended the board accept donations from the following the business professionals of the American organization to be used for the BPA National Leadership Conference. Jonathan Jamie Lamb, motion. Christie and Heather. Second by Heather. Vote. 6-0.
501.
Oh, I'm sorry, 501. That it?
Adjournment.
That goes up.
Yes.
We're adjourned.
Party's over.
It is recommended the meeting be adjourned at 6:28 PM.
So moved.
Anybody else?
Thank you, Christie.
Vote.